last week we battled Mother Nature. Block by block, brick by brick, it's like a Lego wall. And that way Blue and his boys can flip this like a little blue V-can. And he's going to give you your blue energy and you're just going to go. Looking real good, man. Good stuff.
It's so crazy because I never even thought that I would find a block wall beautiful.
Hey, I'm Josh, a builder here in New Zealand. Let me introduce you to that build up there. Previously, we went unconditional on the site. We started cutting into the earth and we visited the factory that's prefabricating our steel cages. Today, we're going to turn those cages into a huge block wall. Coming up, I'll show you how we took this huge big task and broke it into stages. We'll show you the progress on site so far. And stick around to the end of the video where we'll talk to the engineer that designed the structural elements in our block wall. But first, let's go check into the site after the big storm hit. Yo, it's Monday morning and I'm standing on a 500mm thick, 2.5 meter wide footing. That's right, our first big hunk of concrete has gone in. And why that's important is that last week we battled Mother Nature. Shout out to Perth. Woo! We battled the site with the slips and the rain and the storm. And we respect the earth we're building on and we want to look after it. And so it's real hard to cut it open to build something to put it back nice and neatly. Create a build platform. It's messy, hard, intrusive, yuck. It's an intense, hectic process. But this flat surface that we stand on, we can now bolt things to. If we really want to, we can brace up this bank. We can spray a line and say this is where the edge of the house is. There's so many things we can do now. Now it's moved from being an earthworks phase to a build. The build has begun because this footing is down. And I'm so excited. Anyway, long story short, thank you.
Thank you. Look at my nice present.
Yeah, I hope you have the time of your life.
So that shows what we're made of.
First of many. You know what's more difficult than sloping sites? Getting the 75% of you that aren't subscribed to go ahead, click the button. Come on man, help me out. So now comes the fun part. We actually have to get to work on site. You can have all the planning in the world and all that stuff is super important and we've done it all the right way round. But at some point, you still have to get stuck in on site. And working out where to start is part art, part science, and a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. Another little milestone, poured some concrete. block delivery. Awesome. Blocklay is going to turn up tomorrow. I've used Hayes Masonry for the last few jobs that have required blocks. He's helped me out at the Papakofi subdivision. He's done the Korokora new build and the epic house up on the hill at the top of Upper Hutt. So Ben and the Hayes Masonry team were a natural choice to help me get that build up there out of the ground. Because the boys have poured this concrete, we can now get the blocky in, which is super important, but I'm gonna go and sort this out. Remember right at the start, Wade and I used a piece of string and we built some profiles and then we pulled that line end to end. We marked out the corners of the building. That line is what we referenced every step of the way with this block wall. We used it to spray points on the ground for the digger driver. And then we used it when we placed the steel cages. And then once the concrete was in and the blockies got to work, once again we got the string line out and we put marks on the ground, which gave them a very, very accurate starting point for their first row of blocks. We all honed in on the fact that the most crucial part was the lower level retaining wall. The blocky very gently and very delicately places them over here and builds a wall up, block by block, brick by brick. It's like a Lego wall. With laying blocks, one of the most crucial elements is your very first course. And what you're looking for is that everything is working spacing wise. We have very tiny cells that we need to get a lot of steel and a lot of concrete down, and they need to be spaced evenly. They need to meet the engineer's requirements. And so this first course always takes a little bit of time to go down. Every step of the way, we're referring back to the string lines we ran at the very start of the job. Once the first course goes down, the next couple go up very quickly. The masonry blocks are hollow and have cells inside them. Inside those cells is where the steel that gives the wall structural strength. Those are called the starters, and you've seen those on the engineering plan here. So it's really important that those starters are set nice and straight and nice and even. And over a 40-meter length, an incremental change here can compound to everything being wrong over here. We can go anywhere up to 1.8 meters high before we need to stop. In this instance here, we decided to go 6 blocks high, 1.2 meters, just enough to get us over the step up and start the very next line. And this is the line that was crucial. Once we're up above the step up, you're going to see that line the entire distance. And so it's so important to have a string line accurate end to end. Yo, it's a sunny Tuesday morning on site. Not only is the sun shining, but we've got the blockies over there, we've got the builders over there, and we've got the digger driver. It's all happening in 3 different spots at once. That's what you need to do to keep a big job moving. My biggest priority right now is backfilling this wall. So this got poured last week. Firth gave us a special mix that will be hard as within 7 days, which reduced this down from 14 days. That means we can start backfilling that this week, which means I'm going to be able to sleep at night again. Ben Hayes and his boys have done an amazing job. It's going to be stacked bond, black grout, sealed bricks. And what I decided is that if I'm going to have a block wall holding up my neighbour's bank, I want it to be the best looking block wall possible. Ben came out with the ideas, his team's executing it. Cheers, guys. Blue, Chris and the team have been a pleasure to work with. They've been meticulous at checking every single block that goes in and laying it perfect. I think the wall is already a piece of art and I can't wait to see the whole thing finished. Every one of these needs a corresponding D16 cut to 2.5 50.
to 550.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that way, Blue and his boys can blitz this today.
Yep.
So I need you to just be one step ahead of him. You don't have to do it all in one hit either. But I would...
Get enough to set him up.
Yeah,
For an hour.
Just give him a burst of energy. You're like, as well as being a firefighter, you're like a little blue V can. and then he's going to give you your blue energy, and you're just going to go. So the block is charged on, and by the end of the week, we had an entire wall, end to end, 1.2 meters high, and it was such a beautiful sight. It is going to be a beautiful wall. It's going to look even more beautiful once it's finally to height, cleaned up, sealed, and the final touch of black mortar in the joints.
This wall's going 2.8 meters here, and then we step down as we go along to 2.4 meters to retain the bank. Mixing the mortar, it's almost like you're making a cake. You're trying to add water in your mix, but you're also trying to add air to it, so it sort of gives it a bit of a fluffiness. So it's sort of like a liveliness to it, so it's not sloppy, but it's not dry either. Yeah, so you'll lay a little bit more than what your joint's going to be, and then as you place the block on top of the other block with the mud, you want to tap it down to get your nice 10mm joint. Every block you're going to set your line to, you want to use your level to level and plumb it, make sure that you're bang on where you want to be. Oh, we're the best layer in town, mate. Absolutely.
The thing with block walls is once you've filled them, you need to let them settle. You need to let it fully cure before you can start backfilling. Firth came to the party and gave us a special brew that allowed us to speed this process up, halving the time from 14 days to 7 days, meaning that we could move on with backfilling even faster. Because building a 40-meter wall is daunting for everyone. It's daunting for steel, it's daunting for concrete, it's daunting for blockies. And everyone keeps waiting for a magical time where they can do everything at once. That is not the case on site. That's not how things work. You've got to chop it down into like bite-sized daily targets. We even went as far as booking in multiple pumps. Rather than building the whole block wall and then pumping the whole wall all in one hit, we did this in 3 parts.
It's so crazy because I never even thought that I would find a block wall beautiful. The lines are perfect, and having it filled in is just a sense of relief of actually nothing can go wrong now, and the hardest bit is done. I don't know, I've never looked at a wall and been in love with it like I love this wall, because it's literally holding up an entire side of the bank. The neighbour's property's not going to cave in. We're okay.
Because there is so much riding on this wall, not just the neighbours above us, but the build platform below us, it is crucial we get it right. You can see here the engineering detail that the amazing man Gerald from Creeso, got to meet him yesterday, put together for us.
Hey everyone, I'm Gerald. I'm the structural engineer for the build up there. So when we design an element such as this block wall, we have to make sure that all the possible failure mechanisms have been verified and all the structural checks are satisfactory. We don't really have to reinvent the wheel here. And what I mean with that is we typically learn from past experience. So we observe past events, failure mechanisms, then we understand and study the mechanics of the phenomenon. and then we design accordingly. And all this is well documented within literature and New Zealand standards. Once we have all the correct inputs, the architectural set, the technical report, we can then start the design. The structural checks we typically undertake can be grouped into 4 categories. The first one is a sliding check, which basically means that we have to make sure that the wall does not slide under the pressure of the soil behind. The second check is an overturning check, and this means that we need to make sure that the wall this time does not overturn under the pressure of the soil behind. The third is a bearing capacity check, so all the pressure transferred to the wall, to the vertical element of the wall, to then the footings, needs to be within the limits of the bearing capacity of the soil underneath. And the final check is a global stability check, which entails a stability analysis for sloping site. Typically, this is carried out by the geotechnical engineer, and they have to make sure that the soil next to the wall on the side and immediately underneath does not slide under any event. All these 4 checks are done both under seismic and static loads.
Then you can see through his calculations, he's given us this drawing. You can see the footing in the bottom here with the cages. The whole idea of a footing is that it gives you a stable base to prevent your wall from tipping over. You can see the starter bars coming up. Then we have to overlap to do our next rise, and how much those bars need to overlap each other, even down to the angle of earth we're allowed to retain 15 degrees once we've built it. If you're loving these videos but you want to know more and specifically want stuff that's going to help you with your building project, jump on our mailing list below. We would love to send you some extra information. The thing about this block wall is there's 2 sides to it. There's the side that we see every day, and we want that to be mint. We want it to be a piece of art. And then you've got the other side, the side holding up the earth. And there's a lot more that goes into this than you may first consider. Starting with waterproofing the back. Now, because this is a landscaping wall and the building is 1.2 meters of it the whole way around, there was no need any intense waterproofing like we've had on other jobs, but we still opted to seal the back side with 3 layers of Seeker Seal. Down the bottom as well, we're putting a 500mm layer of drainage chip with 110mm Nova coil in there, deflecting any water away from the wall and down into the sumps. And to make sure that the drainage chip doesn't damage the ceiling on the back of the wall, we also lay this bubble wrap the whole way. It's important to note that the sealing of the blocks was an optional extra that we opted to do, but drainage is a must. On any type of retaining wall, the pressure inside water is huge, and you always need to think about where are you deflecting any buildup of water. The crazy thing about building a block wall is you have to take so much earth out to create a starting point to put all that earth back in. And even though this is not a structural element of the house, it's still such an important job to get right. For as long as our house is there, that wall is going to be there. Not only do we want it to stand up to the elements, we want it to hold the earth above us, and we want it to look beautiful in the meantime. Yo, sign off squad, you've made it to the end of another video. Thanks so much. For me, the block wall started way back at design, when I was working with Luke and we were talking about the best place to position the house. I know that building retaining walls is expensive and hard, and I was trying to avoid it. And Luke kept saying, if we could get closer to this bank, we could do this, we could do that. At some point, I decided he was right, that the more real estate we could open up, the more flat land, the better our build would be. And I think that's one of the first important things, is that it's on the piece of paper where you make the decisions as to whether you're building blocks or timber, whether it's going to be this high and create this much space or whether you're going to put it here. Spending the time to get it right on paper is the first and most important step. Then once you've got it on paper, you've got to trust that a bunch of smart people like Gerald, the engineer, have worked out the details, and your job as a builder on site is just to follow the details. As always, I'm learning so much about slowing down and taking it in bite-sized pieces. And I even caught myself off guard on this one and let myself get carried away and cut the whole entire thing in one go. In hindsight, I would have done that in 3 pieces, but that's okay. That's how you learn. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, keep going. Just tell yourself, next time I'm going to do it this way instead of that way. If you don't take those steps, if you don't give things a go, you can't learn. You can't progress. And so my thing is always like, give it a go, see what went well, work out what didn't go well, you review it, and then next time you come to building a 40-meter block wall or getting a new job or starting a business, you have another crack at it, doing the things you know went well, but purposely trying to do the things that didn't go well differently. I think the other thing I've learned through this block laying process is that every step is so reliant on the step before it. And so right from stringing that line, if that string line is accurate and if we're confident on that, then when we spray the earth, we're confident on that. And then when the digger cuts out, we're like, whoa, that's so much, but we're confident on it. Every step of the way, we come back to the string line and the piece of plan. And that's why it's so important to have a great team of people around you. Right now on site, we have landscaping underway and I'm so excited to get plants in. As you know, I've been wanting to do the landscaping first. I've learned the hard way from my previous sites that you never get a digger back and it's so hard to move earth later. We've done so much by hand on site after we've built houses that would have been easy to do before we built the house. I've taken all those lessons and learnings. We've got an epic landscape architect, we've got an epic plan, and we've got so many plants going into the ground right now, and I can't wait to show you that. Obviously, if you're still watching the video all the way to the end, you have subscribed, and if not, what's up with you? And I'll see you next Saturday, 5 p.m.